Well, I'm a little delayed here on the Washington Capitals versus Toronto Maple Leafs game from Saturday night. It's been a busy weekend. Got to go to, Santa's Village, a Christmas tree farm. That was great. On Saturday, very, very busy. Got to play hockey on Sunday, and then the World Cup was on. So, getting to watch probably the best football match I have ever seen. I forgot to record this, so Leafs don't play until Tuesday. They play against Tampa Bay. They can stop a 2-game slide against Tampa, the team who knocked them out in 7 games last year. Why not start a new streak versus Tampa Bay? But versus Washington, I guess the stories are somehow Alex Ovechkin didn't get 801. They were planning a standing ovation for him. It never happened. And Toronto was so good with it, they didn't even allow him the opportunity to get an empty net, which I think he had like 4 empty nets in like a week or something like that leading into the game. So it could have happened. But Toronto said, Instead, we're going to give Erik Gustafsson a hat trick. The game, I felt Washington looked really good at spurts, and Toronto looked really, really good, and just couldn't get anything, in. And then Washington scored again. And the biggest thing of the game, my opinion, was when Washington had the lead and Toronto pressed forward, it led to counterattacks. Washington was very patient with the puck coming in. They basically, if we're going to go by football standard, they were like Robben from the Dutch side. They would go into on the right side. Let's say it's Kuznetsov, because it happened plenty of times. He would cut back into the middle, and instead of shooting right away, he would wait for the activated defenseman, who's basically like a wingback, come on in. So his options were either shoot or feed it there, because the Leafs forwards were backtracking enough. And that's what happened often and on occasion. And sometimes Samsonov made some stellar saves. Other times there was a great shot or a weak one went in. Speaking of Samsonov, he had a game, he had a mixed game. As in, he let in some goals, you're like, ooh, that shouldn't go in. And then he made some ridiculous saves that you're like, that should have went in. There was one play, I think Gustafsson, when he got his hat trick, maybe, the 5th goal, he made like 4 or 5 ridiculous saves, and then they finally scored on him. But it's the goals, at the beginning of the 3rd period when the Leafs have momentum. It's only 3-2, and they scored 10 seconds in. That sucked. The Trevor Van Riemsdyk goal where it hits off of Giordano, that sucked. Giordano didn't have the best game, in my opinion. And I think you saw like Keefe looking up and you're like, yeah, he should have had that. And then you watch replay, and even with the deflection, like, yeah, he should have had that. But it oddly, like, usually as a Leafs fan, 2 losses and I'm like, what's happening? No! But here I was just like, Washington's a good team. Ovechkin's on a hot streak. They outplayed them. Good. It happens sometimes. It's not like panic mode, and it's more of a like, maybe it's because it's so close to Christmas. Get a few weeks off soon, so it's just like, just a game. Plus, let's be honest, there was a bigger game on the next day at 10 a.m. That was Argentina versus France, and that was football, soccer. So Samsonov didn't have the best game. Giordano didn't have the best game. The Leafs in general didn't have the best game. Were there spurts? Yes. Were there spurts? Are Austin Matthews and Nylander and Tavares and Marner and Bunting, and all of them looked good? Yes. And then there was lulls in their game, and Washington Capitals took advantage of it. And round of applause to Erik Gustafsson. Deserve it, man. Good shots there. I loved seeing Ovechkin tell him to go for more. That was cool. It just sucks that the Leafs lost. However, play Tampa Bay on Tuesday. I believe it's on Tuesday. And we can start a new streak. So what are your thoughts on the Leafs' loss to the Washington Capitals? I know this is a bit late, but who knows? What do they have to do to adjust for against Tampa Bay? I still think they need to find that top 6 forward to either play with Matthews and Nylander, or it doesn't matter. Matthews, Nylander, Marner, Matthews, Marner Tavares, Nylander, doesn't matter. Bunting's in there. Who's the next person? Do you make the trade? There was that rumor thing came out that interest teams for Patty Kane. Obviously, I would love to have Patty Kane, but I don't know what you're giving up. Matthew Nyes, first, another prospect. If Kane's going to sign, yeah. But at the same time, you're like, oh, go for the cup, why not? Or could the option be that Matthew Nyes is that guy that slides into the top 6 somehow? I know it's asking a lot, but who knows? Maybe getting a chance to play with Marner or Matthews, it just, lights an extra fire. I have no idea. If Patrick Kane's available and you can afford him and you can get him, you bloody get him and you go for that. You go for it, in my opinion. You're going to get draft prospects, you're going to pull it off, but the core is still very young for the Leafs. And if you can't, then I say don't trade for mediocrity or a maybe. You have a maybe in your system right now who's going to finish school, and then you take him on. Right? Why not? Anyway, Leafs lose 5-2 to the Washington Capitals. They are now 19-7-6. Ooh, even if they would have lost in overtime, it could have been 19-6-7. 19-6-7. Oh well, it is what it is. Leafs play Tampa Bay next. Comment down below your thoughts on the game and the Leafs' future. All right, Murray's in net next, guaranteed. Go Leafs, go.